I keep seeing TikToks about why black men are not going to college the same rate as black women. And something I want to add to the discussion is that I'm a literal twin. I have a twin brother, meaning that growing up, we had the same resources. We went to the same schools. We obviously grew up in the same household. We had the same parents. And when we had tutors, when I had a tutor, he had a tutor, you name it, right? We had some differences gendered wise. Like, for instance, I did Girl Scouts and my mom and dad were focused on him doing things like golfing and taekwondo and baseball. But outside of that, we're pretty similar. I think it's interesting hearing this online discussion and how hesitant or reluctant black men are to accept that there is a lot of socialization for black men to not succeed academically and a lot of pressure from their peers. Now, mind you, both my parents have advanced degrees, maybe not while growing up, but they currently do have advanced degrees. And while both me and my twin graduated high school and went on to college, only one of us graduated. And for my brother to even get to the point of graduating, it was an arm and a leg. Like, I remember from 4th through 8th grade, he was in summer school. And I remember telling him when we were in high school that if he does not graduate with me, it would be embarrassing to have all our family members come up to see me graduate and not him. And I focused on making sure that we both graduate and cross the stage together. And there was a point where every test that he had, my mom would personally make flashcards for him and help him study and be his personal champion and tutor. I remember at one point we thought, or pretty early on from 1st or 2nd grade, my parents went to go test him for a learning disability, and he found out he did have a learning disability, only for me to find out in college that I had the exact same learning disability. All that to say is there's a lot of conversation about, well, who's to blame in this conversation. And I'm not going to say there's anyone necessarily, to blame, but I don't think a lot of black men are understanding that regardless of it's your mom or your dad or your friends or your family or your community or whatever, it's socialization. There needs to be an intervention on how men think about education and their mentors and their peers.
This college conversation should not be a conversation. There should be no TikTok takes. There should be no jigaboo jargon. There should be no monkey monologues, because you all are not qualified to speak on this topic. And telling you that you're not qualified to speak on this topic is not elitist. It's just true. There is research. There are numbers. There are statistics. There are colleges dedicated to studying this. And you don't have the materials to speak on it. You all are telling us why you think black men aren't going off to college based off what you've seen within like a 50-mile radius of your front door. You don't ask questions. You don't read books. You don't have a control group. You don't have historical background. All you know is as far as your eyes can see and as far as your ears can hear. That's not research. This conversation is only showing the disrespect of social sciences degrees. If I didn't have my law degree, y'all would think my political science degree meant nothing. Y'all think sociology is a bunch of people who get in a classroom and talk about their feelings and lived experiences. There's numbers. Don't listen to the TikTok and Twitter philosophers when there are people with degrees who actually have the answers to this. The normal people that you see on your TikTok For You page that are giving takes, I can name drop, I'm not going to name drop, but they don't know why this is happening. They can't tell you exactly why because they're not qualified to. You want to know why black men aren't going to college? Go to college. And while you're in college, study sociology, study public policy, study gender studies, study philosophy, something like that, because you'll get your answers and then you'll be qualified to know why.
I thought women wanted us to have money. And I thought women wanted us to have money as fast as possible. So I don't see why I'm hopping on here and I see a lot of these fake concerned ass women saying something about us men not going to college. Like, y'all not willing to wait on a man's success because you're not willing to understand the vision that we have. And while some women may get on here and say like, oh, find a woman that understands that, do you understand how hard that is? Especially when you run to a woman that already got some type of success going on in their life. They need you to get success as fast as possible. Women have a mental fucking clock in their head. So it's like, okay, if you're not going to do it in the time frame that they like it, they're going to go to somebody else with money. The average woman ain't finna sit here and understand that I'm in college and I don't have no money for real. I can't take her out for real. I can't get her shit for real. And I still live with my fucking parents or whatever the case may be. The average woman is not going to understand that now. So I don't understand why such an uproar on why a lot of black men not going to college. Why there is other reasons on why. That is one of the fucking main reasons. Niggas grew up seeing niggas with a wad of money in their pocket, a wad of money in their hand and shit like that. Especially a nigga like me growing up in the hood. And women love that shit. That shit excites them. So what make you think a nigga gonna continue to think about long-term success when the women want us to have money and have it now and have it as quick as possible? I'm not sitting here saying every woman is like this, but most women are like this. Even women that are still in college and struggling, they damn self. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, while there's other reasons like, having no guidance, you know what I'm saying? Or a nigga just simply not wanting to go, or a nigga being complacent, or what a woman would call being complacent, even though he's happy in the position that he is in his life. You may call that complacent, but like I said, while there is other reasons, women want us to have money, especially women that's already successful in the field that they're successful in. They want us to already have it. Like, a lot of people look at my life, oh, you got 500,000 followers. Oh, you up, nigga. I just started getting my life together. So what make you think I'm even finna go after a woman? And I'm not in school neither. So it's like, stop acting concerned, bro. Y'all not really concerned about a nigga.
Black men in education and why a lot of us aren't going to college. I honestly think this is a really interesting topic, especially since I'm such a big proponent of education myself. Black women are some of the most educated people in this country, and they already understand the importance of education. Education is a means for upward mobility. It's how we can essentially ascend into the middle class. And it is a way to kind of guarantee yourself and your family some sort of wealth. I think that it's important that education doesn't simply stop at the classroom. Another creator on here had talked about the literacy crisis, and I think that she's spot on. And I think this ties into the bigger issue with some people in our community looking down on those who are educated, making fun of people who show any sort of interest in education. Now, I was fortunate to start school when I was 3 with Head Start. And I realized as a person who grew up poor that education was extremely important. And that was the easiest path, in my opinion, to get out of poverty. I think this kind of ties into some of the red pill stuff that we're seeing online and some of the anti-intellectualism that we see online as well. And you'll see that some creators, even Black creators that are men, will say that, oh, education isn't important. Oh, you don't need to do it. It's a waste of time. Now, is education flawed? Yes, we can agree to disagree on that. Student loans, the cost is super expensive. A lot of us are first generation. So, you have to navigate and figure things out by yourself. And going to college, now, while it doesn't guarantee you a job, it does provide you with more opportunity. And in today's day and age, you have to simply just be more mindful about the major that you choose. But that's a discussion for another day. I think that this ties into why Trump is also trying to attack DEI and stop funding towards programs that would assist people or encourage people like us from going to college or pursuing higher education or closing those literacy gaps. For example, near my hometown, there was a program that was geared towards helping people of color, but particularly Black students, in helping to close the literacy gap that is experienced between us and some of the other races. With the attack on DEI, a lot of Black people believe that it doesn't impact us. But see, that is a prime example of how it does. And they will continue to try to attack programs that help us specifically close those literacy gaps and prevent us from having some sort of upward mobility. With the talk about segregation on here a couple weeks ago, there are some of us who simply want to be separated from white people because of the oppression that we face so far. And I can't fault them in feeling that way. But what kind of where it gets tricky is when you start to talk about Black Wall Street. People always love to talk about Black Wall Street. We had our own things. We had our own banks, businesses, etc. But a lot of the people that are proponents of Black Wall Street today, well, there's nothing stopping us from doing something exactly like that. But the same people that are some of the biggest proponents of it, they wouldn't even be able to exist in a modern day Black Wall Street, let alone a Black Wall Street back then. Because you ultimately need to be educated. And now education isn't the only path forward. You can go into the military, you can go into the trades. But I don't see very many of us going into the trades, and they're trying to prevent us from going into the military. And now they're trying to attack education and prevent us from getting degrees. We need to shift the kind of culture around education. We need to stop making fun of people who decide to pursue higher learning. And we have to stop the, saying that people are nerds or that, we're whitewashed or that we talk white, because Black people aren't monolithic. There are tons of different Black people around this country, and not all of us are the same. But this video is getting kind of long. You guys let me know what you think. I could talk about this and I could talk about a bunch of different other things that are related to this because I think it's a really interesting topic.
What I'm about to say does not apply to every Black man. So if you're not a part of this group, simply remove yourself. Don't get into my comments trying to go back and forth with me. But Black men, a lot of you guys don't have your degree because you have weaponized incompetence to the point where it is your default setting. You have prioritized laziness to the point where you will do absolutely whatever you can do to not do any work. If somebody could go in and earn that degree for you in your name, more Black men would be degree holders to this day. Please spare me the whole sob story of, oh, the reason why us black men don't have our degrees at the same rates as our black women is because we had to adopt or take on certain responsibility because there was no male figure in the home and our mother was a single mother and we had to figure out how we was gonna have money for lunch. Please, because a lot of us women had the same exact circumstances, okay? Word for word, bar for bar. Some of us women were worse off than you. A lot of us had to be a secondary parent to our younger siblings while still being in charge of ourselves and our education. Like, please spare me that. I'm going to note one more time. If you are not a part of this group, simply remove yourself. No need to take offense to something that does not apply to you, okay? Don't let that go over your head. A lot of black men, unfortunately, since they were young, were weaponizing incompetence. It started from just having to do everyday little tasks, doing chores in the household, okay? With each task that you were able to get out of or being able to postpone or basically shove off to the side to the point where somebody else would step in and do the job for you, it has conditioned you into the man that you are today, where you don't want to do nothing. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to put in your all for nothing. And it's not just with education. It's in all aspects of life. This is why we say with each generation, the men get less and less like men because they don't want to put in the work anymore. Women from a young age, black women from a young age, are told that we need to be successful academically in order to be successful, period. In order to be successful, period, we have to be successful academically. Like, we have no choice. Meanwhile, men are told that they have other avenues, you understand, in which they can be successful, where education is not that much of a priority. And then because it does include hard work, and you guys have been raised being incompetent and weaponizing incompetence, you are not going to push yourself to go and achieve what it takes to achieve a higher degree. It has nothing to do with you having a hard life. There's women who had an even harder life than you. There's women who could probably get up on this app and talk about how they were raped by their uncle and their father, and they had a child and they didn't know which father or the uncle was the baby father of the child, and they were illiterate up until they were 12 years old, but they still went to church, and then they found this one person that believed in them, and the next thing you know, they're a therapist. You have no excuse. You have no excuse. You wanted to be in the trenches. Everything is a decision. You have free will. God gave us all free will. You guys choose to weaponize incompetence, and it came to the point now, it's your default setting. You can't get out of it even if you wanted to. That's what it is. You don't have any excuse other than, I just don't have the drive. That's what it is. Keep it a buck.
Well, as you can see, I'm in a truck, right? Do I make 6 figures a year? Absolutely. Am I college educated? Yes, I have 2 degrees. Do I recommend young men that are 18, fresh out of high school, to just jump right into college? No. If you're not an elite athlete or elite scholar, college is not for you when you're 18 years old. Trust me. You shouldn't be trying to go to college unless you're 30 years old, from my experience. The same people who are telling you that you need to run off and go to college are the same people struggling to find these 6-figure jobs with their bachelor's and master's degrees. Is it everyone? Of course not. But it's a good amount of people that's fucking complaining. The reason why you need to forego college when you're 18 and jump right into the job market is because if you jump right in the job market when you're 18 years old and you do that all the way up until you're 30, you have invested in IRAs at that point. You have that 401k maxed out, fully vested. You have some high yield savings. It might not be a crazy amount, but it's a good enough amount of money so when you're 30 years old and you decide to go to college, you have a clear head and you have a clear plan and you have a clear vision of where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do with yourself at that point. Telling black boys to go to college when they're clearly not ready is rooted in classism and elitism. And before you come on here and say, oh, I went to college, I had a job, I have 3 kids, none of that mean nothing, bro. It's good that you went to college and did those things, but that's not what we're talking about right now. Good for you. I feel like this whole debacle of, us telling black men to go to college when there's more women in college than black men at this moment, and a lot of women are getting degrees, it just for shaming. It's just a shaming tactic at this point. They're just saying, oh, you're lazy, you have no ambition, you want fast money. It's not about us getting fast money. The money that I'm telling them to go get is not fast money. By all means, they have to go work for that shit. You want to go in a trade, you got to apply and get in and work your ass off. You want to get your CDL, you want to join the military, you want to join the police academy, firefighter. By all means, those tasks are not easy. I'm not saying it, oh, like you could just go do these things. Those things aren't easy. But running off to college because someone's telling you to go off to college and you're not particularly athletically gifted, you're not super academically smart, you're going in to run up debt? Why? Your brain is not even fully developed. You don't even know what you want to do at that point yet. Work your ass off until you're 30 years old. Then you can sit back and say, what do I want to do? You find what you want to go do and you go do that shit. You're not going to be your best self until you're 35 anyway. Why not work your ass off well into your 20s, bro? Well into your 20s before you start thinking about college, bro. If you do it that way, you'll have money saved up. You'll have IRAs that you've been working on for years. You have that 401k fully maxed out, vested. You'll be good that way, bro. I got a degree in criminal justice and counseling, right? And I don't use it. People ask me, oh, why you don't use it? It doesn't pay me nothing, bro. Yeah, I could be the stand-up guy in the community and hoorah and all that other shit, but I'm not getting no money. The same money I'm not going to be getting, the black women that's on here talking other shit is going to be shaming me for being broke. That doesn't make no sense. The same degrees that they're telling you to go run off to get, everyone's fighting for a job with those same degrees. You applying for these jobs, no one's calling you back. That 6-figure job right after you college so you get your degree, bro, it's not happening, bro. You're going to make the same money as a dude that just got out of high school. And you're going to be like, damn, bro, I done took on this debt. I got 40,000 in debt. I got 50 grand in debt. Ooh. Damn, Sean. Damn, what I'm going to do, Sean? Like, you're going to be really feeling crazy, bro, when you feel like you could have just been getting right to the money. You don't got to be worried about no lifetime debt, bro. Learn from me, bro. Learn from me. I played ball when I was in school, bro. I wasn't that nice. But I got 2 years of college paid for, bro, and I used it to my advantage. Did I still accrue some debt? Of course I did, bro. But the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, bro. The juice was not worth the squeeze, bro. My reasons everyone's reasons is going to be different for why they do things. Everyone's reasons are always going to be different, bro. If you could do so and make money at the same time, by all means, do so. If you can, do it. But you got to recognize that if you're not working to your full potential, you're going to be missing out on economic opportunities, bro. And people are saying that, oh, they're fresh out of high school, they don't know how to trade, they don't know how to do. Bro, it's a lot of kids out here making money, bro, fresh out of high school, crypto geniuses, bro. And they would never know unless they did it, bro. They're not working to try and fail to put their money in the market. Watch a stock go to damn near 10 cents or some shit, a penny, bro. And they're not learning from none of that shit, bro. All those things up until they're 30 years old, bro, are straight learning experience, bro. You need to learn about life before you learn in college, bro. As a man, you really need to learn about life before you learn in college, bro. You can't be learning in college and then learn life after. You're going to fuck your whole shit up.
So the question is, why are black men not going to college? There are many things to address in this conversation. It's a very complex conversation, but one thing I would like to say is that I am disappointed in the way it's been had. What it seems like is we are individualizing a social issue, and we're also pathologizing a social issue. We are literally placing the blame on individuals, our individual black men, without understanding the real ramifications of the system that we're in. This book, Okay? This book, especially my educated folks, the educated Negroes, the highly educated Negroes, read it. Understand your role in this. Understand your role in this. You cannot discuss education or the lack thereof without addressing the systemic and the structural issues that everyone's out here protesting and fighting the power about. You can't have statistics like 1 in 3 black men are felons and then ask that question. You can't talk about the school to prison pipeline and then ask that question. And all the black women who are on here saying, well, I did it. I had to raise my siblings. I had to figure out how to survive. I had to be in the streets. I went to college. I went to school. What are the statistics saying about our experiences in college?